Servus, Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. I still owe you one video, a second part, so to speak, on the Nord Stream 2 pipeline project. I talked in my last video about it, how a diplomatic incident now changed the attitudes among many German politicians towards sanctions against Russia and also towards canceling the pipeline project. And I didn't want to blow up this last video too much, and so I decided to inform you, especially about those turncoats, about those German politicians who flipped in their opinion on the push of a button, you might say, like almost as if they had rehearsed that. Yeah, that I want to tell you in this video. All right. So, what is most peculiar to me are two guys. That is Mr. Röttgen, that is a foreign policy quote-unquote expert in Angela Merkel's CDU party, and that is also Mr. Merz, who is, I mentioned him several times in previous videos, who is an old adversary or competitor to Angela Merkel in the CDU party. Yeah? When Merkel took over the CDU and Mr. Merz lost against her, kind of, then he stepped down from politics a little bit. He worked in the industry. He worked for BlackRock, for example, and but he's back now. So he wants, or he threw his hat into the ring. He wants to compete for the leadership position in the CDU after Angela Merkel leaves. He wants to be the next chancellor, together with or among others. Other competitors are, as I said before, our health minister, Mr. Spahn. Then there is Armin Laschet from North Rhine-Westphalia. There is even Mr. Söder from Bavaria. And Mr. Röttgen, I haven't mentioned his name in that context, but he actually in some newspaper articles still gets counted among the competitors for this post. So also Mr. Röttgen falls into that category. Now, these two guys, Röttgen was always against the pipeline, but especially Merz, he was in favor of it, or at least he didn't actively speak out against it. And now he says, this changes everything. This incident changes everything. We have to cancel it now. We need sanctions, no more pipeline. Yeah, Maas, Röttgen, Merz, interesting, huh? If you ask yourself, what do these people have in common with? What is the uniting bond? Are they like buddies that meet somewhere, like in a private club, let's say? Yes, of course they do. The club is called Atlantik Brücke e.V. e.V. means eingetragener Verein. That means it is a official club that is registered. And in this private club, these people are together. I mean, Röttgen is even on the board. Merz used to be, but he's still a member. And Mr. Maas, who is our foreign minister, well, he gave a speech there at an event of the Atlantik Brücke when they gave a prize to a Canadian minister for CETA. That's one of those globalist free trade agreements. How was this prize called? Oh, I don't know. Was it maybe Erik M. Warburg Prize? Erik M. Warburg is the guy who founded this club when he came with an invading army back to Europe. And he founded that club. And his family is still holding key positions in that totally private club. And if you look at who is on the board and who used to be on the board, you see like there are people from Facebook, there are people from Deutsche Bank, there are people from the German Green Party, from the German Liberal Party, from the SPD, like the managing chairman right now is Sigmar Gabriel, a high-ranking social democrat in Germany. Then, of course, CDU people like Röttgen and Merz, they're all in there. Yeah, It seems that only the Commie Party and only the AfD are not in there. Other than that, all different parties, all the mainstream established parties, then, as I said, media, German industry, banking, everything is in there. And, what does it mean when they say, when this club says, oh, you are in our young leadership program? Well, maybe that person's career is taking a fortunate turn. Yeah, maybe he will rise in the ranks of the party. And this is very important to understand. Maybe it's not clear to all of my audience members. Atlantik Brücke, it means Atlantic Bridge. An alternative name for this club could be the Friends of the United States of America in Germany. Another name could be, an alternative name could be, the supporters or the humble servants of the United States in Germany. And another, maybe even more precise name would be the humble servants of the tiny elite group that controls the United States of America. Because bear in mind, when I say the United States of America, I don't mean the good people in the United States. I don't mean the Americans who are hardworking, honest people, most of them at least. Yeah? I mean those cosmopolitan, coastal elites who are messing with all of our countries for a very long time already. And these very powerful people, they, of course, they try to influence and to, well, see, the thing is, I should phrase it differently maybe. Well, I was almost about to say they have our politicians bought and pay for or something. It's a little more intricate than that. See, it's not like they give them a black suitcase full of large euro or dollar bills or duffel bags full of money or something. It's not like that, right? It's not like they just give them money and then the politicians do what they want to do, even though they also do that. They also do that. But it's not that easy. The most potent, the most powerful and profound mechanism for influence, for taking influence, is not just money. It is, as I said, bringing them together with certain people, fast-tracking their career, making sure that the other buddies who are in the club, like Kai Diekmann from Bild-Zeitung, for example, very influential, or the biggest German tabloid, maybe they will write something nasty about the inner party opposition of that guy, and they will write something nice about the guy who is also in the club, right? This is how it works. They have these evenings, these events, these parties, and, one person gets in touch with the other person. One guy makes contact to the other guy. One is in the media, the other guy is in the industry, the other guy is in the political party, and they all look out for each other, and they all favor each other in their careers and support each other. And what do they have in common? They are friends to those American elites. They have some sense of loyalty. And when these elites in New York, when they say something, of course, all the club members of the Atlantik Bridge, wherever they are in Germany, they could be in the media, they could be in the industry, they could be in Deutsche Bank, they could be in the SPD, they could be in the Green Party, they could be anywhere. And they will do what those elites want. Okay? Very important. And it's exactly those politicians who are in that club that flipped their opinion now. And the case of Merz is especially interesting because when you were in favor of it first and say, now everything has changed for me, then you can make it look like in the media that even the supporters of that project in German politics, even they have changed their opinion now. And it makes it look like as if almost nobody is in favor of it anymore. Even the supporters have flipped now and are against it now. So, and as I said in my last video, the German media, they put so much focus on this topic right now. It is absolutely insane how much media attention this gets right now. They really want to make sure that the German public opinion is swung into that direction, because it will cost the German taxpayer big time. We have already paid for it, and a lot of the companies that are invested in that, and bear in mind, the project is almost finished. There are a couple of pipes missing. Over 90% is already, maybe over 95%. It's almost finished. So all these companies that have a vested interest in that, and that now are forced because of sanctions or because the German government changes their opinion. Now Merkel even said that maybe Merkel hasn't really said anything concrete yet, but she said that maybe sanctions, maybe stopping the pipeline. So these companies, they could sue the German state, and then the German taxpayer would have to recompensate these companies. So the German taxpayer is in for a lot of money. Okay, if that pipeline is not finished, the true victim of that story is then the German taxpayer, as always. I mean, I probably don't even have to say that. It's clear. It doesn't matter what happens in the world. I said, disaster strikes, Germans pay. That is how it goes. The German taxpayer is always the one who has to pay. And by the way, there is one more thing I want to add. This person who was attacked by this nerve agent, he is a right-winger, right? And in no newspaper article in Germany this is mentioned, yeah? Because these newspapers, they normally vilify right-wing people, like even very, very moderate right-wing people, like in the AfD. I mean, I think it's hard to compare, because Russia and Germany, completely different cultures, different countries. But if this guy were an AfD politician, he would be on the ultra far right wing within the AfD, I think, okay? And I don't think you need to be super smart or a prophet of any sort in order to predict, or in order to see clearly how the German media would write about this guy if he were a German politician in Germany, right? But they don't mention the fact that he's a right-winger, that he's a nationalist, yeah? Because of course they want the German public to feel sorry for this guy. And yes, you should feel sorry. I mean, he was poisoned, right? It's a horrible thing. But they can't even write truthfully about it. They say, they lie by omission, I would say. They say, he's a reformer. He's an anti-corruption activist. He is a competition for Putin, and he is reformer, anti-corruption. That's what they say. They don't say he's a nationalist, which is probably the most fitting description. But of course, the Germans are not supposed to know that he is actually a nationalist. It could make them feel, not so sorry for him, maybe, because right-wingers are, of course, the ultimate evil, right? That's just another little detail that I wanted to mention, that I should have mentioned in the last video, probably. All right, so what do we have now? We have a private club that was founded by a certain Mr. Warburg, and yes, it is that kind of Warburg. It is the banking family. The banking family of Warburg, in case you hadn't noticed that, or in case you didn't make that connection when I mentioned him the first time in this video. And this name, Warburg, it pops up a lot lately on my radar, I have to say. So independent of that story, the family name Warburg, got some attention in the German media on something else that I will report about very soon. Very soon. It has something to do with Hamburg. It has something to do with the Social Democratic Party and their candidate for to be the next chancellor from their side, Mr. Olaf Scholz. And he is, let's say, he is connected to the noble family, to the banking family Warburg of Hamburg. All right. So I told you today about the Atlantik Brücke and how it was founded after World War II by a Mr. Erich M. Warburg. His family is still, of course, having key positions in that club, and they make sure that German elites, that means people in banking, in the industry, in all the mainstream political parties, in the media, everything, that they are loyal, that they have a sense of loyalty because their careers were started and facilitated and supported by that club, by these club members. See, it becomes a very, very efficient, very powerful means to influence people. Yeah? First, these elites owe their careers to ties, to personal relationships they got thanks to that club. And that club is tied to American coastal elites. And this is how they influence them. Yeah? And of course, you can't turn away from this club. Try to do that, your career is over. Then you have people in the media smearing you. You have people in the industry, probably working against you. People in banking working against you. People in the political parties working against you. What can you do? You're done. Yeah, you can't get out. It's not the same, but it's almost like a mafia. Okay. And the currency that they use are not duffel bags of money, even though, yeah, okay, not money primarily, but it is thanks. Thanks, loyalty that you owe to them. Your career was built upon the relationships you made via that club. Okay? And that is how that works. And this is how these American elites practically dominate Germany. Okay, some very, very powerful people. It's a network of very powerful people. And you saw this network at work live when this incident happened in Russia and what it now means for this pipeline project. Because I explained that before, the Americans don't want it. Our eastern neighbors don't want it. Yeah? They're building their own pipeline project, by the way. It's called Baltic Pipe. It's going from Norway via Denmark into Poland. And so it's not just geopolitics, it's economic. Yeah? They want to build their own pipeline, and more power to them. I wouldn't want to tell them to stop. I say go on, build your pipeline. More power to you, more diversification. That's great. Yeah? But they don't think that way. Yeah? They think their pipeline can only succeed if other people don't build theirs. Okay? So maybe because Baltic Pipe, this Polish, Norwegian, Danish project, it's not getting that much attention in the German media, at least. I don't know about abroad. I think in the Polish media it gets a lot of attention. But most people forget that besides other motivations, these certain European nations that have another interest, that have another opinion on this project, they have their own pipeline project that they want to boost, of course, and they want to become the energy hub then. Okay, so bear that in mind. I think that was long enough for today. Let me know what you think about this. Take care. Servus, Kameraden.